Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the second grade concept of data, specifically how we can interpret data in bar graphs and pictographs by drawing conclusions and making predictions, and we'll do it in 5 minutes or less. So you see I have a simple bar graph that I drew on the screen, and what I did was I rolled a die, just a basic number cube that's got 6 sides, and I rolled it 20 times. And what I did is I kept track of which digit I rolled and how many times. So you see I have the digit 1. I rolled it 3 times because it's right there in between my 2 and my 4. I rolled the digit 2 twice. Now the digit 3, it goes right over here, right in between my 6 and my 8, so I rolled that 7 times. And then my digit 4, I rolled that 8 times. So there's a total of 20 rolls. And you see how it's spread between the digits 1 and 2, just a few, but 3 and 4, I rolled several times. And the question is what's wrong with the die? Because your traditional die is just, remember, it's your basic cube, just like this, and each side has got some little pips, some little dots. And so you got 1, and you've got 2, and you've got 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are the traditional dies. But what I'm seeing here is that there is no 5 and 6. 5 and 6 are completely gone. What you do see is that the number of times I rolled a 3 and a 4 is about twice as much as the number of times I rolled 1 and 2. You see, this bar graph tells me a story that something is wrong with this die. If you were to spread it out evenly, you would expect, if you rolled it a certain number of times, you would expect the digits 1 through 6 to all show up, and you would expect them to be about the same. They might not be exactly the same, but their bars would probably be pretty close, because the more that you roll it, the more that they would be spread out evenly. So what we can tell, since this is a 6-sided die, we can tell that first off the numbers 5 and 6 are missing. So we can say, what's wrong with this die? We can say 5 and 6 are missing because there's no way that we roll it that many times, 20 times, without hitting any of those. But you see that the numbers 5 and 6 are missing, but this is a 6-sided die. So what goes in that place? Well, it looks like there are 2 3s and 2 4s. So that would make sense. So what I did is, on this particular die, that's what I did, is I just took a little piece of tape and a little piece of paper, and I covered the 5 with a 3, and I covered the 6 with a 4. And the reason I can make that conclusion is because the number of times I rolled a 3 and 4 is twice as much as the number of times I rolled a 1 and a 2. So that's what's wrong with this die. Let's look at a pictograph. Now we have a pictograph. We've got students in Miss Heather's class, 19 students, that voted on their favorite ice cream flavor. The 3 choices were chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. And we have to keep track of our key down here. Each triangle represents 2 students. So let's go ahead and put some numbers here. I've got 2, 4, 6, then I've got half of a triangle. So that's going to make 7, because half a triangle is going to equal 1. 2, 4, 6, 8 for vanilla, and then 2, 4 for strawberry. So there's my 19 students. Sometimes you're going to see a pictograph, and you might get a question like, what would happen if? And they just want you to make a prediction. What would happen if something changed about this graph? So what would happen if I added a flavor? Well, let's say we added chocolate chip cookie dough. Well, if I were to add chocolate chip cookie dough, that's a pretty good flavor, and I think a lot of students would like it. So I could probably make a prediction that it might be, let's say 4 or 5 students that might like it, and I would have to take that away from my vanilla and probably my chocolate. I would think those might go down a little bit. Maybe this one might go down to 3, and this one might go down to 6, and this one might go down to 5. I'm just making a prediction because that's a pretty good flavor. But if I was to come up with avocado ice cream, you probably wouldn't see any change because that's kind of gross.